I'm Macy Egland. Developing now on NewsdayTV, police are searching for the gunman who shot 2 people in Mastic Beach. They say a group of people were arguing last night here on Woodside Road when the gunman opened fire and then took off. A 25-year-old man and 34-year-old woman were shot, but we're told they were not seriously hurt. You can follow the latest updates on our website, Newsday.com. Closing arguments are expected today in the Deer Park nail salon murder trial. Stephen Schwally of Dix Hills is accused of killing 4 people and injuring 9 others when he crashed into Hawaii Nail and Spa in 2024. Police say he was speeding with a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. This Greenport man is accused of sending an indecent picture to a person he believed was a 13-year-old girl. Police say Corey Hooks went to Topgolf in Holtzville a week ago to meet who he thought was the teen after connecting on social media. They say he had child pornography on his phone and is now facing multiple charges. Only in Newsday, the town of Islip is looking to pierce the state tax cap for the 3rd straight year. Town officials blame the pending increase on higher sanitation and employee costs. Over the last 2 years, the average tax bill saw a 27% increase. First in Newsday, upgrades to a busy intersection near St. Francis Hospital in Port Washington. $3.5 million will go toward new sidewalks, changes to a traffic signal, and larger turning lanes on Middle Neck Road at Port Washington Boulevard. That construction wraps up later this year. Extra trains will help get the golf fans to the U.S. Open in Southampton later this month. The LIRR is doubling the amount of service to its temporary station at Shinnecock Hills. Practice rounds begin on the 15th. Well, state lawmakers want to give solar a boost. They approved a measure to legalize portable solar panels. The DIY systems can be hooked up to the electric grid of a home or apartment building and produce enough energy to power a few small appliances or one large one. And Governor Hochul is reviewing that bill. Let's talk about your forecast now with meteorologist Jeff Banson. After a nice day yesterday, and it sounds like just more and more improvement as we go.
Those solar panels will get some run this week, Macy. Yeah, we have a nice forecast on the way. Raise your hand if you had your heat on this morning.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guilty. It is chilly out there. Take a look at the temperatures here in a second, but it is also beautiful out there. As we're taking a look at Sag Harbor right now, and a lot of boats getting in the water, and I think we're going to start to see more and more, especially with a week like this, and building back towards summer by the end of the week. But not feeling like summer this morning by any stretch. It's 35 degrees in West Hampton Beach, 38 in East Hampton. These are your morning lows that just happened recently. Even outside of that, you're in the 40s, Montauk, Islip, Farmingdale, and you have to go all the way to the JFK Queens border there to get to 50 degrees out towards New York City. It was a cool day yesterday, 68 degrees, 5 degrees below normal, but it was very, very nice out there. The humidity was low, and when the sun is shining this time of year, you can deal with a temperature like that, no problem. And we're going to have another nice day today. High pressure is really building in to the northeast here, and we're starting to break out of this pattern. We've been talking about this since last week, kind of the Omega block pattern that has really punched all that warm air into the center of the country, and it's given us these shots of low pressure, not always. As you've seen by yesterday, we've had some very, very nice weather, but it has caused all that cool north flow to come down from Canada. That's going to change. Watch the jet stream flattening out here as we go later into the week. That lets the warmth build in from down south. So take a look at these temperatures here. Again, mid-70s today. It's a picture-perfect day out there once the sun starts getting a little higher in the sky. We're working our way towards the 80s by the end of the week, and that's just on average. You go into parts of Nassau County and the North Shore, you'll be making a run at 90 degrees. It'll be better beach weather later this week. Again, still cool out there today. Air temperatures not really overly far from the water temperatures, although you have to be very, very careful this time of year. That is dangerous cold. You can get hypothermia in a matter of minutes, so we always are cautioning people, especially when it's not, super warm out, to use extreme caution when you're heading out of the beach. Low risk of rip currents today, low waves, so it's an excellent boating day. You think back to over the weekend where we had that, gale warning and the storm warnings out in some of the open waters with that storm that came through. Not the case today. should be glass out there this morning and for much of the day with light north winds. There are your temperatures today. Again, maybe only a couple of spots out east that struggle to get to 70. The rest of us will be in that. And then tomorrow you're starting to see those 80s popping up across western portions of the island. It's a mostly sunny day, winds out of the northwest, and then they're going to start turning a little bit more westerly and southwesterly into tomorrow. It's a comfier night tonight. It's not as chilly. You won't need the heat tomorrow morning in most parts of the island, and a beautiful day. Upper 70s, mostly sunny for your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All sky conditions looking very similar to that. Will be in the low 80s for Friday and Saturday. And then a front squashes down at some point Sunday into Monday. Notice the cool down as a result of that. We go from the 70s on Sunday back to the upper 60s on Monday. Macy, I did say something along the lines of, getting the rain to come on Monday at some point.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
A crackdown on dangerous driving. New statewide data shows Suffolk police significantly increased enforcement while tickets dropped in Nassau. Sherry Einhorn and Newsday transportation reporter Peter Gill explain why.
Newsday spent a year investigating different aspects of the traffic safety crisis on our Long Island roadways as part of a project called Dangerous Roads. As part of that project, our reporters looked at data periodically, and some of that data had to do with dangerous driving ticketing. Transportation reporter Peter Gill is going to tell us what you most recently found that shows some significant changes, right?
That's right. Yeah, we looked at ticketing for some serious violations. That's speeding, aggressive driving, impaired, and distracted driving. And across those categories, ticketing in Suffolk County was significantly up last year in 2025 and decreased in Nassau County. Suffolk County Police Department on their own handed out about 26% more of those tickets year over year. Nassau County Police really haven't recovered after falling significantly in their ticketing during the pandemic, and last year handed out about half the number of tickets that they did pre-pandemic.
What is the reasoning for the increase in Suffolk and the decrease in Nassau?
So in Suffolk, we talked to Commissioner Kevin Catalina, and he said that he's really made ticketing and enforcement a priority since taking over the department last year. And he's increased the size of the highway patrol, as well as asked all officers to do more traffic enforcement. Nassau County Police didn't respond to our request for comment.
Transportation reporter Peter Gill, thanks so much for the update.
You can read more about ticket enforcement and Newsday's Dangerous Roads investigation on Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. The Knicks are preparing for an NBA Finals rematch, nearly 30 years in the making. They take on the Spurs in Game 1 tomorrow night. Jamie Stewart and Knicks beat writer Steve Popper look at the matchup.
Newsday Sports is brought to you by Sun Nation Energy, helping Long Island homes and businesses save with solar for over 20 years.
I'm Jamie Stewart. The NBA playoffs began with 20 teams. Now we're down to the Knicks and Spurs in a battle for the NBA title. Game 1 this Wednesday night in San Antonio. The Knicks haven't won it all since 1973. Let's bring it all to Newsday's Steve Popper to break it down. Steve, the Knicks are the hottest team in hoops. They've won 11 in a row. But the Spurs are led by 7'4" megastar Victor Wembanyama. Do the Knicks have the manpower to slow him down?
Oh, I do. First, I would say I don't believe he's 7'4". I think he's taller than that. I've stood next to him, and I've stood next to Kristaps Porzingis. He's bigger. He's just either that or he's young and he's still growing. I don't know. But the Knicks do have, I think, as well a chance as anybody in the NBA. They have the pieces to defend him. Oddly, it's 6'7" OG Anunoby, who's done a better job against him than anyone in the NBA defensively. But they've got then Karl Anthony Towns at 7 foot. Mitchell Robinson, depending on the broken pinky, if he's available, is obviously an elite defender, at 7'1". They have a lot of guys they can throw at him. If you look at Oklahoma City, who they just defeated, they had tried using a guard, Alex Caruso, at times. Teams try and muscle him up, try and get him out of position, force him out, but he's so versatile, the things he can do. but I think the Knicks have a lot of pieces they can throw at them.
So the Knicks and Spurs played 3 times this NBA season. Knicks won 2 of them, including the NBA Cup. Both teams seem much better now. Can we take away anything from those 3 games?
Yeah, look, I think the Knicks were pretty dominant in them. Even the game they lost, I think they had a 19-point lead and blew it under an avalanche of 3-pointers. The NBA Cup, to me, was the best test of this because it was odd. We were in Vegas. It's not the kind of thing you'd expect to be a championship or a postseason sort of atmosphere, but it was. They were playing to win that, and it meant something, even if the Knicks didn't hang a banner.
All right, Steve, so here we go again. The question, rest or rust? Knicks have had 9 days off. Spurs have had off since Sunday. So this is an advantage for the Knicks, or are the Spurs, who are the second youngest team to ever reach the finals, are they immune to fatigue?
Well, I think, first of all, I'd say the Knicks, the experience of having it last round, I think sort of teaches you what worked, what didn't work. If we remember that Cleveland game 1, they came out, were in a 22-point hole before they came back with a great fourth quarter comeback. I don't think you're going to see that again. I think the Knicks realize we've got to approach it differently, and they had that experience to kind of learn from. I think there was a little bit more intensity, edge kept in the practices this week. It's sort of like, you learn, who would ever expect to have 2 9-day breaks in a single postseason. But I think they learned from that first one. And as far as San Antonio, I kind of feel like they've had wars here. And Wemby has always kind of been on a minutes limit. He was playing a ton in this series, with very little rest. I think he was 42 minutes about in that game 7. They had a day off, and then they're back at practice yesterday and back at practice today. To me, it's interesting. The Knicks, I think, are going to try and play off that fatigue. But the one thing I will caution, if the Knicks are a slow starting team in this, you got to be careful, because the Spurs against OKC came out of the gate on fire almost every game.
All right, final question, the $1 million prediction, Knicks or Spurs for the NBA title. What do you think?
Well, I feel like you can make $1 million if you go against my picks, but I picked in the paper. I picked the Knicks in 6.
And to read more about the Knicks' first trip to the finals since '99, you can go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
You can see more on all of the stories you've seen today on Newsday.com and watch us streaming anytime on Local Now, YouTube, and the other streaming services you see there. I'm Macy Eglund, here with meteorologist Jeff Banson. We've got more local news and your forecast coming up here on Newsday TV, covering Long Island like no one else can.
Enjoy Newsday TV from the comfort of your own home. Watch Newsday TV on your favorite streaming service. Newsday, covering Long Island like no one else can.